All right, welcome back everyone. On today's episode, I am going to be talking about using automation for the win with an amazing story, of course, to back it up from, what would you expect? Formula One. Yep, we're going to talk about it. See you on the inside.
I ran marketing departments in corporate America for 10 years and then ran a digital agency for over another 10 years. So I know the roadmap to online success, and that formula always includes producing content to share your message, from your marketing message to sales and delivery. Hi, I'm Jennifer Neal, and you're listening to the Content Toolbox. I believe the secret to finding and creating raving fans online is through you. In building relationships through stories that share who you really are, create genuine, crazy, raving fans that keep begging you to take their money. And on this podcast, we'll be talking strategies, tactics, tips, and more with myself and other industry experts. So buckle up and start your engines, because it's go time.
All right, you guys, today I want to talk about automation. That's where my background came from. That's how we ran our agency for so long. That's work that we are still doing for some select clients. It's kind of amazing. Why do we need automation? There is a big myth or idea out there that using automation in your marketing, in your sales, in your business can make you seem and sound like a robot. So I'm actually going to talk about a step that we're actually setting up, ways that we can use automation, and then give you some examples of things that we're actually setting up for our own business right now, as well as a couple of clients. It's pretty cool stuff. And to support the entire thing, my Formula One story, because I, of course, watch all of the F1 races. And this year, something totally unprecedented happened, and I had to write it down because it reminded me so much how automation literally saves the day. And in this case, automation made the win literally in the race. So let's talk a little bit about ways that you can use automation, and then I'm going to share the juicy story because it's like, oh, it was such an epic race. All right, so there are plenty of ways that you can use automation. When you go in and you're on Facebook and you see the bot, like if you ask questions to a page and it responds back, it is already programmed with frequently asked questions to give you back information, and based on like it's identifying keywords of things that you are asking a questioning, and it identifies those and serves up an answer. Super cool automation. It's really fun to kind of play that off in a way that's like, hey, I know this is a robot type thing, but this is gonna help tee you up so that you are that much closer to ready when you actually do talk with a real human. You don't always have to pretend like it's a real person. Like you can actually say, yes, this is an automated thing. Isn't it cool? Can be very cool, right? Email marketing, absolute like best case of automation. That is something that pretty much every single business is using. There are ways to set up your emails to like tailor with other types of communications. Maybe you want to do voicemail, you want to do phone calls, text messaging. There's like ways that you can kind of group all those types of messaging together. In fact, that is something that we are working on right now for a new awesome content marketing survey that we have coming out. I'm super excited about it. So there's lots of ways that you can kind of tee that up. Now, the really cool thing about automation is you can use there's even a software company that does that, right? That if this, then that. If somebody opens an email, then we can assign them points and say, oh, they are more interested in our stuff, so we're gonna give them like a higher score. If they click on a link, we can do the same thing. If they don't open an email, we can take away points. If they don't open an email, we can take away points and say, instead, we're gonna send them this email with a different subject line. There are plenty of ways that you can dive into using automation as like to make you superhuman and make you a robot, like superhuman power. Freaking amazing. But don't forget that it is still automation and the personal touches are still necessary of course, because we are humans. It's just that automation can assist you in making snap decisions and making sure that things are not dropping, falling through the cracks. It's so helpful when we are just human, so it may take us a while to respond. If somebody sends an email or a chat message or a text message and we're not there to respond, that person is ready right then, right? So how are we gonna make sure that that new hot lead, hot prospect, hot whatever is going to get taken care of, is not going to get dropped through the cracks? That's where automation really comes in handy. Now, I also do advocate as well that only automate things if you've already gone through the process so that you know what you want to say or what you want those responses to be like. So you don't just go right out the gate with a brand new business and be like, I'm gonna automate all the things. That's also a bad idea. So there's a balance, right? Figure out how you would respond as a normal human, then build that into an automation so that it can help you become superhuman. That's what we're after, right? All right, so I want to give you this example. This happened this year. They are still racing Formula One races. They just are not allowing fans to actually come and attend, right? But they are still running some of the races. And one of the big ones, in fact, this one is so near and dear to my heart because I was supposed to be at this race this year. Obviously, pandemic didn't happen. But this is the Monza race in Italy. And I love this race. It's amazing. And it is one of the iconic Formula One Grand Prix races, right? I'm sure even if you don't follow Formula One, you know Grand Prix and you know the word Monza. Absolutely iconic, right? Love it. So, what happened at the race this year? So to give you a little bit of backstory, there's always certain people who perform better in the whole tier, right? And for several years now, the top performing team has been Mercedes-AMG. And the top performing driver, the person who has won the world championship for several years, way too many, in fact, and if you ask me, because I'm personally not a fan, but Lewis Hamilton has been at the top of that race, right? He is the top driver, and I will give it to him. He is an amazing driver, absolutely. I just don't like him personally because he seems like a bit of a dick, but you know. Anyway, he is a really, really great driver. So he, of course, pole position, he was out there, he was winning that race. Well, this race went crazy. There were so many weird things that happened during this race that normally never happen. In fact, it has been 4 years since this particular thing happened. What happened was there's an incident on track and they had to close the pit lane entrance. Pit lane is the place where like they're racing around and then they have to like come off, right? And they go down pit lane so that they get their tires changed and then they join the track back. When there is an incident on track, it is an advantage to pit at that time because things are slower. So you're taking advantage of a down economy. I just said economy because I relate everything to business. Okay, taking advantage of a downturn in the race, which is the same thing that we can be doing here in business, right? So it's a great time to take advantage, go get fresh tires so that when the race does restart, you are ready to go and you're on top of it, right? So it was a smart move. However, what happened was pit lane closed. Well, Lewis, in his little race car, I mean, legit, I will say that it is very difficult for them. They're going anywhere like in top speed flat out, they're going 230 miles an hour. I mean, they're going fast, right? So to try to like pay attention to road signs at that point in time, probably a difficult thing to do. Totally understand that. And you're human. So reaction times, while race drivers are like, have amazing reaction times, we're still human. So pit lane closed. 12 seconds after pit lane closed. 12 seconds, that's it. Lewis enters pit lane. And he goes in and gets his tires and goes back out. So, what happened? He broke the rules. So the race directors had to give him a penalty. So they give him a 10-second stop and go penalty, which is super normal when people have to get penalties, right? So he went in and served his penalty after the race had resumed, and that brought him back out into the pack at the very back of the pack. Now, there are 16 drivers in total, and Lewis came out at the back of them. Now, he was able to make his way back forward in the pack, but he didn't have enough time left in the race to actually get all the way back up to first. Now, remember, this is a guy who has dominated all of the races for many years and was already at the top of this race. So, he, by the end of the race, is only able to make it up to 7th place. Pretty disappointing. He wasn't even in the top 3. He wasn't even on the podium. That has not happened for a long time because he's a top driver. But what failed him? This is so cool. So in the meantime, another driver who has always been a kind of underdog for like a second tier team, he's a good driver, just the cars aren't quite as great, and he's been in like the middle of the pack sort of run, right? So what happened in the meantime was his team had some systems in place that automatically flashed a notice onto his steering wheel and notified the crew as soon as pit lane closed. Automation system running behind the scenes, hasn't been used for 4 years since pit lane has closed, right? This system picked up and made them superhuman powerful, basically, because he got notice, oh, I can't enter pit lane. And so he did not go in, did not get a penalty. He was able then to take first place. This total underdog who has never before won a Formula One race won this race because automation let him know, don't go in right now. Now the Mercedes team, the top performing team, the top constructor team, they did not have an automation in place that said, display these notifications when rules come down from the race directors, right? So one simple little thing that just sat there and ran in the background, totally saved the underdog and cost the win for poor old Lewis Hamilton. Now, to me, it was very, very nice because, like I said, not a fan, so I was excited, but it's also so cool to see somebody not normally winning able to win, and I was just like, yes, because it's because of automation. Like, how freaking cool is that? So I knew that I had to do an episode and talk about how he literally automation for the win. That's all I have to say. Just mic drop. There you go. But seriously, when you relate that back to your business, you think about it. Lewis lost that race by 12 seconds. Now, that seems like a really short time. There are plenty of times when other people have lost a race by literally like 1/100th of a second, right? But 12 seconds, if you think about that in terms of your business, when people are hitting your page, I don't care if it's a Facebook ad or if it's a sales funnel or a blog site or whatever, when people are coming to you, traffic is coming to you, we have a lot less than 12 seconds in order to capture their attention. So what do? I mean, if we don't know who they are, we can still pixel them. We can have an automation system that's running to pixel that person and then retarget them with ads, because retargeting ads are much cheaper, right? But all that stuff can run in the background, so we can catch that. Maybe there's the underdog in there that needs to have a win that we're gonna go, because this automation system is running in the background. 12 seconds, that's pretty close to what we have of people's attention when they actually come to one of our sources, right? So we want to make sure that we are grabbing that attention. Now, what happens if somebody opts in for a lead magnet or something? How many of you guys actually have engaging nurture sequences that you are following up, and even more, that you're following up based on what they opted in for, where they're at in your value ladder? Once they've finished your lead magnet or one of your programs or whatever, do they know the rest of your value ladder? Do you have automation systems in place that let them know how else you can continue to help? Think about all of the different things that you're selling and all the different ways that you can help people and all of the different ways that they can come into your world. Do you have automation touch points in place to be able to follow up with them at any point in time and let them know, here's how I can help you next. Here's the next step. That's really what this is about. We're using that automation to make us superhumans and to go for the win, right? I love it. I just had to share a Formula One story. So I really hope that this one was helpful. And if you're not a Formula One race fan, go check it out because it's still playing, still going on, and it's amazing to watch. There are so many things to learn from this super top technology. You can see all of that filter all the way down into modern cars that we're driving right now. It's very, very cool how the trends kind of follow along. And all of the things that they have in place to help people on pit lane, people in the driver's seat, make those instant split decisions because they have to be superhuman. And they're using systems and technology to help support that. So we can do the exact same thing in our business. Hope this is helpful. If you liked it, please comment. Please make sure that you leave a note, leave a review, download, like, rate, review, all those good things. Love to see a screenshot and say, hey, this episode was really cool. Appreciate it. If you want more, go check out the Content Toolbox. ContentToolbox.com. You can get into our resource area and download tons of other amazing freebies, including how to set up some of your own automations and some guidelines and things so that you can get going with this or amplify what you already have. Either way, it's automation for the win. Let's get you across the finish line. All right, see you guys next time. Hello. Hello. Whew. That's probably gonna go in the cuts now, isn't it? I should not have done that. We'll call it a wrap.